Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, and thank you for listening. For those of you who are new here, I am Irma Mast, and if you have been following my news feed, thank you. I really appreciate that. That helps me, and it helps my my videos, and it helps me. And so, thank you so much, and I would love to hear where you're coming in from. What state are you from? I got some more questions for you. I know some of you really enjoy these where I answer some of your Amish related questions and answers, and so that is what I have for you today. And I appreciate some of you. You have questions. I'm glad you have the nerve and you just ask them. That makes it easier for me to make a video and know what you want to hear, and it gets me to thinking in what even in my past and where I am at now and how I came here. So yeah, I'm so glad you asked some of the good questions. I think I will just get into it so I don't have too much long of a video, and I don't want to keep too much of your time. But yeah, so the first question is, what was it like being Amish before you left? And that's a good question. I was thinking about this the past few days, and I was like, what really was it like before I left? And for me, it was normal. And I think we all have a normal in our life, no matter whether that's good or whether it's challenging or whether it's, comfortable or whatever it is, there's always a normal. And I think that is how it was for me. I was just a normal. But I would say it wasn't a healthy normal. The first few things that came to my mind of one especially is that I feel like I'm let loose inside. Like I can think for myself now. And so, and I guess the opposite of that, how was it being in that culture? I would say people made decisions for me. I didn't, in a sense, that sounds, there is a comfortability in that, in just having other people make decisions, because you don't have as much responsibility on yourself. But and now I think there's so much freedom in making decisions, but also there's also an accountability and a responsibility to that. So I would say, if I look back now, I'm like, I was in a box. Like I couldn't think outside. And if I started thinking outside of their lifestyle, of trying to discover who I am as an individual person, what do I believe, what do I like, you got into trouble. I didn't have, you didn't have the support, and I've often felt very alone because I didn't have like-minded believers. I didn't know what I believed. I didn't have support and people to share with, and people to grow with, and people to be accountable to, and they am accountable to me. Like I didn't have nearly the amount of good healthy relationships that I do now. And so in looking back, it looks like I was just in a box living my life and trying to grow and trying to wiggle, but it was just all within very limited. So that's kind of the best I can explain it, I guess, in briefly. It was a very, very different normal. And I think now I can choose the good parts. Like I'm very thankful I grew up in that culture. I'm very grateful for that. And I think I still use some of that. Like I can implement the good parts of that, but I can also have the freedom to choose. Like there's nothing Amish that I can't have when I'm not Amish. But if I am Amish, there are tons of non-Amish things that I can't have. And so I think not being Amish, you have the best of both. So the Amish face. Like what is the Amish face, or how do the Amish believe? And I think I maybe covered this a little bit in some of my previous videos, but there is no such thing as the Amish faith. I don't know what it is. If you ask me about what is the Amish faith, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, because there are Amish that believe exactly like I do. I have friends and family that they believe exactly like I do, and they are Amish. I have people that think you can leave the Amish before you're a member, and then that would be different. or there are people that think you have to be Amish to be saved. There are Amish that think when after you are a member and you leave and you're excommunicated, that there's no chance for you to get to heaven. But there's no consistency. There's no one faith that says, hey, the Amish believe this. I often get asked, like, do the Amish believe this or that or that? And it is a very hard, I mean, it's a good question. I totally get that. And it's easy for me to think, okay, do these people, the non-Amish, think this way? And nobody fits in a box. Me neither, and you neither. But there is no such thing, like, there's no consistency in the Amish, even in the same church, as far as what is the Amish faith. I don't know. And it depends which Amish person you ask. There have been, there was one time, I think, where I got a letter that, this was random friends, Amish friends, that they said they hope I come back to the Amish faith, and I'm thinking, I have no idea what that is, because I believe like I do now when I was Amish. So I can interpret it in how they probably think, but like there is just no such thing as the Amish faith. I see a kite stuck in a tree. Looks like someone was flying a kite and it's got stuck. Okay, the next question. Why do they speak Dutch, and why do they speak Dutch? So yes, they speak Pennsylvania Dutch at home for the most part. At church, their first language is Dutch, but they also know English, and in many places they talk English as well. Why? Tradition. Dutch isn't a written language, and it's not a written, like a proper language even, and so the only Dutch that people know is passed down from generation to generation to generation. Typically and naturally, as the generations change, like generation after generation, some of the words change, some of the expressions change. I was trying to think of the expression a little bit ago, and I cannot remember what it is, but there is an expression that my two aunts, they just have a fit, like, where did you get that from? Like, they never used that. And we were discussing this over, I think it was over Christmas maybe, and I'm like, we always said that, and then we're like, what did you say? And I forget exactly what it was. It was just and they're like, they say that, and we're like, we never, it just sounded funny. So everything is passed down, and I would say that they use much more English words mixed in than they did 100 years ago, or even like 50 years ago when my parents were small. And so it's just completely tradition, nothing else. Some believe that that is a very sacred thing, or like that it's because your forefathers did that. You could ask different Amish people and about their faith around that, and you get different answers as well. So yeah, tradition. What denomination are you? And if you have a new denomination, what made you decide that particular one? What part of denomination am I now? So I am not part of any denomination. I left the Amish religion, or the Amish way of life, to seek God and seek God alone. And if I look, and then the question is why, was also why the denomination. And so when I look at scripture and when I look at the life of Jesus, I do not see him in any particular denominations. They had denominations in Bible times, not the ones we do now. And they, of course, had different ones, and they were more like the Gentiles, the Jews, the Pharisees, like those kinds of things. And I'm assuming it wouldn't be as many as we have now, but maybe, I don't know. And so Jesus was never part, like, I think he never made any difference in how he used people from different denominations. He was himself, and he had his relationship with God, and he busted some denominational things that say, if when they add it to the Bible and they add it to the law, or the laws that God had put in place for them, he busted some of those things that were man-made. And I believe most of the religion denominations nowadays, including the Amish, or even some other ones that maybe aren't so obvious, if we add rules and we add man-made legalism things, I think we're adding to what Scripture says, and Jesus never did that. So the question then is, well, what church do you go to? And our church, I'm not even sure what it would call. Probably, I'm not sure what we're not part of any denomination. We seek to serve God. We read the Bible. We try to apply Scripture to the best of our knowledge. We keep growing. We keep learning, but we're not part of any certain religion or denomination. And for me, I don't think, the church I go to, we welcome, if Amish want to come, or if Mennonites, or if you're Baptist or Methodist or Mormon or whatever, you're welcome to come. There's no one is pushed out, and no one is not welcome. So that is kind of how I feel, and what I am part of, and why I am. I just think I want to serve God with my heart, wholehearted mind and soul, and adding things and allowing the church to add, being part of a church that adds to that, is just not something I see any good point or any value in at all. So I think that is kind of the questions I have now. I do have a few things, but I think I will make another one for that, because it's enough for another one. And thank you for sticking around if you're still listening. And I would love to hear some of your experiences, like for those of you that left the denomination that you grew up in, or maybe you are like a religion or whatever faith, and if you are part of one, I would love to hear your story and hear what you learned, or what your opinion is. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that it's better or of more value than anyone else. This is just my perspective, my where I come from and what I think. So, all right, have a great rest of your day, and be sure to smile.